Back to another episode of Teves Development. Today I'm going to be going over the standard array type. Arrays are great. We can think of them as cubbies, for example. In each cubby we can house a different thing that we want to store. So we can instantiate an array. Let's start by doing a string array. We instantiate it by doing these two brackets, and then we'll name it consoles. And we'll set this equal to three things. We'll say the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and we'll say the Switch. So now we have a string array of consoles. We can also create an array of any other type. So we could have an int array, for example. We could have a double array, for example. The possibilities are endless, essentially. So what this is an array of, we named it consoles, and it's going to be containing the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and the Switch. So we can think of it like this. Cool. So we have our console shelf, and we have three separate boxes. We have the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and the Switch. So what we could also do to make it maybe a little bit easier to understand is have this as consoles. So this is what our array sort of looks like in memory. Not exactly like this, but this helps you visualize it. So let's say we wanted to get one of these consoles out. We could do something along the lines of system.out.print. We'll do print line, and we'll say, let's say we want to print out the Xbox Series X. So we would use the first one in the array, consoles at 1. So what this is doing is we want to take the consoles variable and take out the 1th index inside of this string array. So if we run this now, wait a minute, we got PlayStation 5. Why is that? So if we think back to a previous video, we know in Java we actually start with zero-based indexing. So in our consoles array, we would index in at 0 to get the Xbox Series X. So this would actually look more like this. Let's add this down here. This would be the 0th index. This would be the 1st. And this would be the 2nd. So if we wanted the Xbox Series X, we'd actually put in 0. Cool. Now we see the Xbox Series X. Let's think about the size of this now. What would the size of this be? If we have zero-based indexing, the size of this would actually be 3. So if we do something like consoles.length, we should see 3. Great, 3. So this is basic arrays. We instantiated a new string array of consoles, which we have in the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and the Switch. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this. What if we needed to have an empty array that we needed to put things in over time? Let's say we don't know what we want to put into it at the start, but we want things to be put into it as we run the program. We can do this by saying string with the brackets, and we'll say Xbox games. And then we'll set this equal to a new string array, and we'll give it a size of 3, for example. So what this is doing is this is actually creating a new array that's going to be empty. So for visualization, let's do this. We can name this Xbox games, and right now this is going to be empty, so it's going to look like this. And then we still have our zero-based indexing, So it would be something along the lines of 0, 1, 2. But we don't want an empty array, we want to put things in it, right? So how would we do that? Let's say we have a variable string halo equals halo. Now how would we put this into, let's say, the second slot inside of our Xbox games array? We could do this by saying Xbox games at, remember we want to put it in the second spot, which is the first index, Xbox games at 1 equals halo. So our array is now going to look like this. So let's go ahead and see if we did that correctly. We'll print out Xbox games at 1, and we should see halo. Great, we see halo. And we can do this, we can fill this up the same way by saying Xbox games at 0 equals, we could say Fable. And then we could print out Xbox games at 0, and we should see now Halo and then Fable. Now let's say we wanted to update something. So these, we can actually update these guys. So let's say we wanted to put Fable in there twice. We could do Xbox games at 1 equals Fable again. We can run this, and we see Fable and Fable. So this gives you an example on how to create an array that has predefined information inside of it. This is going to have you create a new array that has nothing inside of it. So let's say we wanted to get the Xbox games at 3, for example. When we instantiated this guy, we created it as an empty array. There isn't anything in it. So if we get this third spot, which is the second index, we shouldn't actually get anything. It should be a null. As we can see here, null. So arrays are a great tool. They allow you to house information and keep it together. They are something that you will use in almost every single Java program that you're probably going to write. Something more common that you'll see is something we'll go into later on a new video. It is lists. So we'd have like a list of string list equals new array list. And these are things that you'll probably see more common are array lists instead of arrays. Arrays aren't used too much, but they are very important when we're first starting to learn the program. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, everyone.